What's up, guys, and welcome to this week's episode of We Are the Bonsai Supply. I am Jerome, and this is my Brazilian Raintree. So, I grew this Brazilian Raintree from a very small tree. It wasn't bigger than this when I first got it, maybe this tall, and then I grew it into this. So, a couple of key things about this tree. Number one, it grows very, very fast, especially in the tropics if you keep it outside. It likes full sun, but at the same time it likes to have a little afternoon shade, especially between like noon and 3, that really peak time where the sun is the highest. That's when the tree likes to be in a little bit of a shaded area. Or what I do is I go ahead and I mist the tree from the bottom. I just mist the whole foliage to cool the tree down a little bit, because the foliage, the leaves starts to sag a little bit in between those times. You can develop a very cool trunk where the wood starts to flute, as what they call it, is when they start to create these channels and these twists, and they start to flatten. So it's a very cool characteristic. Brazilian rain trees, they also are very well known for their thorns. So this is a new growth thorn, so this is very soft. But then over here, so this one is hardened off, so this one of course would hurt very much. So I've actually stepped on a thorn from a tree that was grown in the ground that was about this long, and it went straight through my foot in between my toes. So that really hurt. So watch out for that. These trees also flowers. They have a white flower and they're very fragrant. I like to repot my Brazilian Raintree in the when it gets a little warmer, so like the night temperatures stay between 75 and 80, so it's a great time for me to go ahead and repot this. This tree can tolerate cooler temperatures, but for a very short period of time. So I would say once the night temperatures drop below 45, what I do is I start to water the tree twice. So I water it in the morning, right, as soon as I wake up, and then I water it again right before I go to sleep, so that I can heat up the pot. So when it gets very cold and you water the tree at night before you go to sleep, the water actually warms up the root system and the pot, and then you can actually make your tree survive and go through a cold spell very comfortably. The only problem is if it gets below 40 for a longer period of time, then you might want to move this tree into a warmer area. So now if you look very closely over here, on this side, the tree is starting to push itself out of the pot big time. So we're gonna have to go ahead and repot the tree now, because now I know that the tree has now recovered from. I'll go ahead and defoliate the entire tree, because I do want to see what's underneath. I want to rewire the entire tree. I want to get rid of all of these thorns. So the way that you get rid of those is just cut them in half, and we're going to remove every single one of the leaves so that we can start to wire the tree. So now that the tree has been defoliated, we also went through and we cut all of the thorns in half so that they don't come back and hurt you. So only the thorns will now only regrow on the very new growth, which is out here. But in here we removed all of the thorns, and we do this every single time just so that we don't get stung every time we wire the tree. So then I'm gonna have to go through and remove these anchoring wires. Or most of them are okay, but I'm gonna have to adjust them. And some of these shoots up here, they've just grown straight up. Now if you're underneath the tree and you look up into the tree, you see that every single branch has a ton of movement, and that has all been created by clip and grow. So basically I let the shoot grow out, and when it was thick enough, I cut it back to where the movement stopped, and then I would let it regrow from there. And then continuously like that, I would build this entire canopy. And I would build it with clip and grow and with guide wires. I almost forgot what they were called. Guide wires, and that's it. The tree is becoming a little leggy here on this side as well as on this side. So I'm gonna have to balance this out a little bit and push it back. But Anyways, now I'm gonna go ahead and repot the tree. I'm gonna add in about a handful of black miracle grow into our all-purpose soil mixture, which is the calcine clay, the pumice, the lava rock, and the pine bark. And the reason why I'm adding on a handful of black soil is because the tree is in a shallow pot, so the water evaporates fast. The Brazilian rain trees also love a lot of water, so that's why I'm going to add on a handful. I do the same trick with buttonwoods and cypresses, and also black olives. Anything that really likes a lot of water, I add on just a handful or two, just to ensure that the tree's roots stay wet. Alright, so if you look at this branch right here, you see how this branch over here has really nice movement. So it comes out of here and then it splits into two as it's supposed to, and then it has all of this natural movement in here, and then it continues, and then over here, you know, this is where the branch is finished. But this is a brand new branch in here, so I could actually technically go ahead and wire this branch into place here. That would be one way to go about. But since this entire branch structure has been done so naturally, what I can do is I can just cut it back. So you see how this is pretty straight, but there's movement here. So I just cut it back to here, and now when it regrows, I want to do some more directional pruning, and then I can build into here a very natural ramification, and that's what I'm going for. It takes a little longer, but you know what, at the end of the day, it just makes the tree look so much more natural. And over here we have the same situation where this branch shoots up over this branch, so I'm just going to cut this guy back, and then this guy just shoots over this branch, so we're just going to take it back to around here. And now once they regrow from in here, we can make a nicer ramification that way. And so these branches seem to collide in here. So what I can do is take a look which looks more natural. I want to say this branch looks more natural than this. So what we can do is cut this back to about here, and then remove this here, boom. And now we're gonna go ahead and go here. So now I'm creating the zigzag in here, and this branch is in the wrong place. Very good. And here we are. So this is pretty much just how I go through the entire tree and just remove everything that's still straight, everything that's pointing straight up, everything that's growing straight down, and I'm cutting it back to where the movement stopped. Alright, so these two branches come straight out of this branch and they go straight up, which is not needed also, so I'm just going to cut it back. I'm going to leave a little knob here for dieback. Now this branch is growing down and this one is growing over it. So I'm just going to cut this branch back to around here, and then it can regrow. I'm going to cut this one back a little bit as well, and I'll do the same over here. And then this branch over here comes out a little too far, so I'm going to do the same and just cut it back to around there. Maybe we're going to go a little further back. There we go. Much more natural this way. So now one thing that I do is I make a couple cuts, and then I always step back just to make sure that I'm still on the right track. It is very easy to get carried away, cut way too much off, and then you just have to spend, you know, more time off regrowing. Okay. So this is a very good branch to show you. Did you see what there's 3 branches that come out of the exact same space? Let me see here. So there's this one that comes straight out. There's one in the back and one over here, right? You guys see that? All right. So in this case, I always like to take out the center one. Just because if I leave all of these 3 forks, what's going to end up happening is that there's going to develop a very thick knot in here. So when you work on a tree, you always want to create twos. So if you look at this branch here, it comes up in here, splits in 2, it continues to grow, it splits in 2, it splits in 2, in 2, in 2, in 2, in 2, oops, in 2, right, here you go, in 2. And so this is how you want to build your tree, always with 2s and 2s, and that can build a really nice ramification. but I think it looks pretty good now. So now the next step would be I'm going to go and remove all the old soil, and I'm going to repot it into a new pot, and then I'm going to decide into what type of pot I'm going to pot it in. So let's get to it. So it's been about 2 years since I repotted this tree, and I have noticed that the tree is a lot heavier now than it was 2 years ago. One thing that I would like to point out is, look at this root mat here. Now this is the sign of a really healthy and very strong tree. So the bottom of the tree, so your root system should always match your canopy in terms of denseness as well as ramification. Your top cannot start to ramify unless your roots also start to ramify. So this is a very beautiful, healthy root system. And so I just want to show you what you can achieve with the type of soil that we use. It does work for your trees. It's not just a bunch of rocks that we put together. Every single rock that we use has a purpose in your soil system, and this will be the end result. So now I'm going to go ahead and start to rake out the roots from the top, because I want to discover a little more surface roots here, hopefully. So that's what I'm going to try to find, and then I'm going to start to clean it up. And then I think I found a new pot for it. I think I'll find a new pot for it, which is going to be a dark blue one, which is the best that I have at the moment. And then next time I'm going to go and step up the game with the pot. So let's go ahead. Overall, the tree looks really, really good. I'm really happy how far it has come, and I'm just excited to see how much further I can go with this tree. Yeah, that's it for this week, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.